Hello and welcome to our newscast. I'm Hwang Jae live from Seoul. Let's start with part of the power abuse scandal that's playing out thousands of kilometers away in Denmark. The Danish High Court has rejected Chung Yura's appeal against the extension of her detention in the country. Chung, who was arrested on Sunday on charges of illegal stay, is the daughter of the woman at the heart of the scandal, Choi Soon-sil. Choi is a close friend of President Park Geun-hye and is accused of using her friendship for her own personal gain. The High Court said Tuesday that the district court's decision to extend the detention period for the 20-year-old was legitimate and reasonable, adding that it will stick with its decision to extend her confinement. Earlier in the day, Chung's lawyer submitted an appeal against the court's decision. Prosecutors in Denmark have until January 30th to keep Chung in the country for questioning. And Korea's second impeachment trial against a president has begun. The Constitutional Court has firmly set the tone of a swift and fair ruling, but President Park Geun-hye was a no-show at the first hearings. Hong Ji-sun reports.
Opening the trial, Constitutional Court President Park Han-cheol vowed a fair ruling on the impeachment motion, given the gravity of the case, with state affairs currently in the midst of a leadership vacuum. As expected, President Park did not make an appearance, and the trial ended after just 9 minutes after the court set the times for the questioning of witnesses at the next two hearings on Thursday and next Tuesday. The National Assembly's Impeachment Committee asked that Choi Soon-sil be the last witness called, as she has denied most of the charges against her, while the president's former secretaries appear to be giving relatively reliable responses. Meanwhile, the impeachment panel submitted as evidence the remarks made by the president at a press gathering on Sunday. Their belief is that certain remarks could prove the accusations against her. The panel criticized the president's appearance at the gathering, saying the move was inappropriate and discourteous to the court.
Although it is not direct evidence related to the grounds for impeachment, we submitted these documents with the belief that they could serve as evidence of the president's indirect involvement in recommending personnel and making introductions.
The president's lawyer said they had not been notified of the event. He also said our legal team is doing its best to finish documenting the president's activities on the day of the Seoul Fair disaster and will try to submit it to court at the next hearing on Thursday.
We are perfecting the document as we believe it's the last opportunity to defend her.
President Park's lawyer has reaffirmed that President Park will not appear in court as it's not mandatory by law. The lawyers from both sides will begin offering their arguments for and against the grounds for impeachment at the next trial hearing on Thursday. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
One of South Korea's top national security officials will make a 3-day visit to the United States this week for talks on North Korea. Deputy National Security Advisor Cho Tae-yong will meet with U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Antony Blinken and hold a fifth round of strategic consultations on North Korea policy set to take place on Friday. The two parties will also focus on how the latest UN Security Council resolution is being carried out and how to further counter North Korea's unlawful military provocations. On a separate note, the vice foreign ministers from Seoul, Washington, and Tokyo are set to hold talks in the U.S. Capitol on Thursday to discuss North Korea's nuclear development. The meeting comes as North Korea ratcheted up military threats as it ushered in the new year, with leader Kim Jong-un saying the regime has reached the final stages of test launching a long-range ballistic missile. In another sign of the problems facing Korea's ailing shipbuilding sector, the nation's shipbuilders have slipped below their Japanese rivals in terms of orders. Global research firm Clarkson Research Service says the amount of contracts Korea secured between 1999 and the end of last year stood at a little under 20 million compensated gross tonnage, or CGT, lower than the more than 20 million CGTs that Japan managed to win during the same period. CGT is an indicator of the amount of work that is needed to build a given ship. In times of slumping global demand, the amount of contracts that both Korea and Japan won dropped, but those of local shipbuilders did so at a faster pace. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has hit out at General Motors for manufacturing vehicles abroad without paying tariffs when selling them in the United States. Using his favorite tool to deliver his message, Trump tweeted that the carmaker has been sending its Mexican-made Chevy Cruze model to U.S. car dealers. He said the automaker could either pay big tariffs or make them in America. In response, General Motors said most of its Chevy Cruze models were made in the United States. Trump previously slammed Ford about its production in Mexico. The automaker's CEO Mark Field said Tuesday that Ford will cancel its plans to build a new $1.6 billion plant in Mexico and will instead invest $700 million in Michigan, creating 700 new jobs in the U.S. And that wraps it up for now. Thank you for watching, and do join us again at 10 a.m. Korean time for more news updates, and goodbye.